Holtville Vikings football field in Holtville, California. I'm Will Torres. We are VSN. With us is not Ron Rubio. Special guest with us tonight, helping me call my play-by-play and doing a little bit of color with me. The great duel from the South End, Mr. Vic Carrillo and Johnny Moreno. Welcome, guys, and thank you for helping us out right here at VSN.
Well, thank you very much, Will. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here at Birger Field as we witness the Imperial Valley Classic between Holtville and Imperial, kicking off the last non-league game for the 2021 season before everyone embarks on league play starting tomorrow night. This game originally scheduled for Friday night as Friday night lights would come in, but we're getting an extra head start here having Friday night lights on Thursday. And as a result, it gives me great pleasure and honor to introduce to you the voice of choice, the real deal, John Moreno Brown.
Vic, there's no place I'd rather be than with Will Torres, you, and Joaquin Matus, and of course Sarah Rubalcaba, right here at Birger Field in Holtville, the Imperial Valley Classic. League starts tomorrow, but for all practical purposes, this could be league.
Well, Holtville comes in with a 5-0 record thus far, and Imperial 3-2, and they've shown constant improvement during the preseason. But throw those records out tonight, John. This tradition goes back over 100 years. Tell us about that.
Well, back in 1915, when things were happening in the Imperial Valley, not much was here, but a lot of empty space. There was football, 1915, and we look back at that. Calexico scheduled played Imperial, Holtville, Yuma, and El Centro, and that's over 106 years ago. And I think Imperial was the first one to establish the high school, so this goes way back to the time when the automobile was just invented.
Well, John, you know, there's a lot of similarities. They're both small towns, one on the west end, Imperial, and Holtville on the east end. But Will, tell us, since both teams are now in two different leagues and two different levels of play, does officiating become a factor or styles of play?
Well, let's fast forward here to when it was back then when everybody was in the same league, and then we'll fast forward to now. So to answer your question about the refereeing, no, it does not change at all. In fact, the competition, Holtville being in Division 5, Imperial being in Division 3, it's the same style of football. So the only difference is that a couple of years ago, Imperial made that jump to the IVL. Holtville is in that same situation. I was talking to Coach Turner earlier, and that's his goal. It started last year. He had the team to go. And, that team he had last year was just a phenomenal team, right? The good thing about Turner, what he's doing and what he's building here in Holtville, he's keeping that momentum going with this team. This team that he's fielding today, they're trying to go underneath the radar, Vic. They're trying to be not seen. You know why? Because they're good. They're good. They walk the talk is what I'm trying to get at, Vic.
That talent is family bred because there's 8 sets of brothers, several sets of twins here on the team. And the coach, Jason Turner, in the pregame interviews that we had on August 13th at the football carnival at Southwest High School, was preaching family. And that, John, is very evident here tonight with all the blood-related players for Holtville. What do you say about that?
Well, there's 4 sets of families that are playing for the Holtville program, freshman to 12th grade, and to me that says a lot about the community. That says a lot about the opportunities that Holtville has, and that the Valley has that too. You go to Brawley, you go to Central and Southwest, you see those families out there playing football. You go back in Calexico, we had the families. That was the thing to do. You were my older cousin, and everybody played football, so that was the thing. That was a rite of passage to play for your high school football team.
And we talk about the small town effect and the advantages. We all became good friends throughout high school because of the competition that started back in Little League. And I had the great pleasure when I walked up the bleachers to see Wayne Carty, retired El Centro fireman from the class of 68. I hadn't seen him in 53 years, John. Can you believe it?
Wow. And let me introduce tonight's referees before we talk a little about the teams right here. Head referee, John Seaman. Umpire will be Sean Laughlin. Head linesman will be James Bentley. Line judge, Roman Rubio. And back judge, talented Michael Garcia. Vic, what does the Imperial Tigers, Coach David Shaw, have to do to win this game? Even they're playing out of their league. They cannot let their guard down at all. What's Imperial going to have to do tonight?
Well, first of all, the tradition rides strong here where the teams throw out the records out the window and they come here to play a longtime rival, regardless of what league they were in, whether it was a Manzanita, the Desert, the Imperial Valley League, what have you. Speaking with David Shaw during the week, he wants to establish the run. He wants to establish control of the trenches. They want to run behind 305-pound tackle Wolfgang Horner, who will be playing on the left side. And if they can establish the run with a freshman quarterback, Reese Vindiola, and do everything back is C.J. Turnen, who's played at quarterback. He'll be lining up at running back. We might see him at times flanked out as a wide receiver, but they want to score first, score often, and put Holtville on the defensive.
On the thing with Coach Shaw, and he's not shy to tell you that's what he wants to do. Talking to Coach Turner, one thing I noticed about him when I was talking about my opinion about what I thought, Holtville needed to do, he was calm, he was cool, and he was relaxed. Vic, what did Coach Turner have to say?
Turner wants to come in with a balanced attack. He'd like to run the ball more behind the duo of the Eiton brothers, Seth and Peyton. Peyton, the leading ball carrier for the Holtville Vikings with over 550 yards rushing. And their leading receiver is Mason Toten, who's caught 8 passes, but 6 of them for touchdowns. And so with the passing skill of Spencer Hilfiger and the running attack led by the Eiton brothers, Holtville wants to also take control. So I think, John, it's going to be an old-fashioned smash-mouth type of football game.
Kicking off tonight for the Imperial Tigers is Ethan Gonzalez Lopez. Back to receive, we have Peyton Eiton, and number 9 is Dorian Mays. As we get set for the kickoff here with the Imperial Valley Classic at Birger Field in Holtville, the Imperial Tigers and the Holtville Vikings.
And it's a beautiful fall evening for football.
Beautiful, beautiful night. You know what? Good company too, man. I say that. All right, let's go.
End over and kick. It'll go to Mays out inside the 10. He'll field it coming this way. He'll cross the 15, breaks a tackle going up to the 20, and still on his feet here in the near sideline, going down the 50, the 45, 40, 35, down all the way. Dorian Mays, touchdown! Holtville on a kickoff return from inside the 10 at the far sideline. Bring it all the way down to the home bench and into the end zone for the Holtville Vikings.
11:44 remaining in the first quarter. Holtville draws first blood, 6-0.
Hilfiger going to pitch it and trying to turn it up the field is number 21. That is Peyton Eiton. Penalty flags.
We're going to have penalty flags, and depending, of course, on who it's on, the offense or on the defense. But he did score, so it's going to be a personal foul, face mask. It'll be against the Imperial Tigers, assessed on the kickoff, but good for 2 points. That in this type of game, that could come back and help them.
Well, when they played Calexico 2 weeks ago, they were successful on all their 2-point conversions in the first half, and it ultimately paid off because Calexico came up 1 point short, losing 29-28 in the last seconds of the ball game.
With double-double formation. Reese Vindiola, only a freshman, out of the shotgun. Gives it to, he'll fake the dive to Naylor and try and keeps it, but gets nothing, as maybe a couple. No, he'll lose on that one.
Well, that was Turnen playing quarterback. He was 6 for 6 last week in their victory over Gila Ridge from Yuma, John. And so tonight, David Shaw's plans are to move him all around like McCaffrey of the Carolina Panthers. He started out at running back, then he went into quarterback. Right now in this play, we may see him at wide receiver.
Vindiola, full house, backfield. He's handing it off to Tiernan, going to the right side, the 50, 45, 40. He could go all the way, but he's knocked out of bounds inside the 35-yard line, maybe at the 36. I'm sorry, the 26.
And that was number 21, Peyton Eiton, making sure he didn't hit pay dirt as he bumps him out of bounds there at the 24-yard line.
I believe that's what you call it, Will.
Well, that's what they call it now, but because in the old day it was just set up a little bit different.
Right, and Chris Tiernan decides to keep and loses a couple, maybe a yard. Tiernan on a 4th and goal from the 6, going in. He's going to hand it off. No, he's looking over the middle, crossing route, and Incomplete. The pass intended for number 29.
Zach Ray.
8:40 to go, second quarter. Hilfiger will hand it off. 24, Seth Eiten. And will lose about 3.
Initial contact was made by number 53, Aiden Shields, 215-pound linebacker, and he was finished off by number 58, Andres Gastelum, 5'10", 180 pounds. So both sides of the ball, John, have some good size to them.
3rd and 10 from the incomplete pass. Vindiola looking, shooting, and the pass is caught in the left flat. Good enough for a first down, and that is number 25. That's Dominic Suarez. Move those chains for the Tigers. 1st and 10. Tiernan in the full house backfield. He decides to keep, breaks a tackle left side. Touchdown, Imperial! Chris Tiernan takes the snap and just keeps it, runs a yard away, and scores for the Tigers.
Well, he faked a dive to Seth Shaw running in the 3-hole, and as the defense bit, he pulled it out and scampered down the outside of the line of scrimmage and was able to outrace the defensive backs of Holtville, who were hotly in pursuit.
Holtville. Hilfiger looking, shooting, intercepted by Imperial, but he was down. That's number 10 for the Tigers.
Victor Valenzuela.
Wow, so there are 3 things that can happen when you pass. That was one of the bad ones.
The interception, right. And as a result, Victor Valenzuela's interception will give the Tigers, with 26 seconds remaining here in the second quarter, the ball at the Tiger 33-yard line.
You can wrestle now year-round, so they can always stay in that wrestling shape. But, you know, I still believe in the old school way of a 3-sport athlete.
Trips left. Tiernan couldn't find anybody and is sacked at the 35.
Ethan Gonzalez has the capability and the ability to be able to kick a field goal from this range, but it's a first down.
2nd and 9 from the
Or second
29. 4 receivers on the left, and Tiernan is looking in that direction, and the pass is tipped and intercepted by number 3 for the Holtville Vikings. That is Roger Rolfe. Gets a tip drill, and look what I found. He's got a 1st and 10 back at the 10-yard line.
Well, the pendulum of Lady momentum is swinging from the Imperial Tigers to the Holtville Vikings. The Vikings will take over deep in their own territory, inside their own 10-yard line. In fact, right at the 10, John. Legendary coach for the Brawley Wildcats, and a chip off the old block, his grandson Kai Bishop, playing an outstanding game here for the Tigers.
3rd and 2 fumble, but Holtville falls back on it.
That ball laid on that field, in that backfield for a long time, it seemed like, especially if you're a Holtville Viking coach.
It was there forever. So a loss of a couple, maybe one. 4th and 5.
4th and 5 with 2:30 and the clock counting down for the end of the 3rd quarter.
Hit him right on the number 4 for that completion.
Trips left on a 1st and 10. Tiernan will keep the football, breaks 1 tackle right side, gets a 1st and 10 and more, and runs out of bounds right about the 35-yard line.
And that was number 4 for the Vikings, making the stop. Well, whether he does or doesn't, what he does want to do is gain the lead.
Tiernan takes the handoff, shotgun, snap, touchdown, Imperial. So Tiernan from about 4 yards out gets the snap, runs up the middle, and now the Tigers got 6.
Well, with 3:48, it's all moot now here in the 4th quarter as the Tigers dent the end zone on that short keeper by C.J. Tiernan, and as a result, they've taken the lead 13-8 over the hosting Holtville Vikings.
Welcome back. John, go ahead as we get
handoff from Hilfiger to one of the Eiten brothers, number 21, Peyton. And the ball will be turned over on downs.
And that was Aiden Shields, number 53, along with number 55, Kai Bishop, making that stop and protecting the lead of 14-8 of the Imperial Tigers. So time is called with 1:38 remaining by the Imperial Tigers. They lead 14-8.
They, as right now, if the score were to stand with 30 seconds to go in the clock, they do go in the victory formation. It's still a positive for the Holtville Vikings.
Well, the Vikings came into the game 5-0, 5 wins, no losses. Their last victory was 2 weeks ago, 29-28, over the visiting Calexico Bulldogs. And here it looks like Imperial is racing out to a 4th consecutive victory, which will raise their record to 5-2, excuse me.
So, one thing that is still alive is this rivalry. This thing is going to keep going. It's good to have, and let's just hope there is no serious injuries. Both these guys get ready for league next week. It's going to be tough. Congratulations to the Imperial Tigers. I mean, they took on a tough Holtville Viking team tonight.
And they were both evenly matched, even though one is in Division 5, the other in Division 3. I mean, you got to say a lot about the Holtville Vikings. I mean, they were in it all the way to the end.
Well, both outstanding athletic programs, a very well-played game.
We're here with Imperial head coach David Shaw after the thrilling 14-8 victory over the Holtville Vikings here on Thursday Night Football. Coach, thank you for taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you, Jen.
About 6 months ago, you guys played Holtville back at home. Similar outcome, you won 14-6 then, 14-8 tonight. Talk about the perseverance of your team coming into a hostile environment and winning this huge rivalry game.
Yeah, you know what, man? Jason Turner, man, he has a great team, man, and we knew we were going to be in for a dogfight. They took the opening kickoff back, and they were up 8-0 before we can even get settled in our seats, right? But I was just very proud of our kids for holding steady on that. We were able to move the ball on them, but we weren't finishing drives. So I was very happy and proud of my kids for having the perseverance, man, to push through.
Talk about that defense once again. Like you said, the only score you allowed was that opening kickoff. And obviously their offense runs through the Iden brothers. You were able to contain them, especially on that last stop to ultimately ice the game. Talk about how your defense played a key role in you guys securing this victory.
Yeah, you know what, Coach Victor Cruz Jr., man, he had a great game plan. And I thought all 11 kids, they all contributed tonight on defense. And it took all of them, man, because like I said, that offense is tough to deal with. The hard part about that offense, it's tough to replicate in practice. So these guys are big, man, and they, the Iden brothers can run, and gosh, what's his name, 22, the quarterback, man, Hilfiger, man, he's a load, man, he's tough to bring down. So I was very happy with the way our defense, they got stout when they needed to.
Coach, going into next week, you have Brawley, your first league matchup. This game gives your team a whole bunch of momentum and a lot of confidence going into that highly touted matchup. What's going to be this week? What are you going to preach this week to your team?
Yeah, you know what, man? We got to finish plays, man. We left some scores out there, as you guys can see. We did leave scores out there. We got to make plays. Brawley is always tough, man, and they're tough again this year. And they're always going to be tough, and our kids are going to be ready to play them. They're going to be excited to play them, and we gotta prep, man. We gotta prep, and we gotta take care of things on our end and finish plays.
Coach, thank you. Congratulations on the big win.
Thank you.
Will, back to you.
Welcome back, everybody. Great ball game, guys, gentlemen. Just a great ball game. First of all, I'd like to thank you guys for filling in for my partner, Ron Rubio. But, Holtville, like we talked about earlier, still positive. Imperial, came through at the very end. I thought Holtville, they did what they wanted to do, come out here and do. It's just, whoever had the ball at the end, we talked about earlier, was probably going to win the game. That's the type of game it was. What are your thoughts on the game, John?
Well, I think both teams played an excellent ball game. There was a lot of minimizing of mistakes, but for the most part, it was smash mouth, old school football that just pounded and pounded and grounded, and that's what we like to see sometimes. We did have some moments of exuberance and excellence with that kickoff return, the first play of the game, and that really set the tone.
Yeah. So, and on another note, Burgers and Beer and VSN would like to announce they're going to give out a gift certificate to a player of the game, and to announce that player of the game is none other than Vic Carrillo.
Well, thank you, Vito. this was a very well played game. It exemplified the tradition that's been held over 100 years between these two rivals, Imperial and Holtville. And there were many players that could have been selected, but tonight that honor goes to C.J. Turnen, the do-everything football player for the Imperial Tigers. And I say football player because he played running back, he played wide receiver, and more importantly, in the closing minutes of the ball game, he played quarterback, and he led them to the final score of the ball game to eke out a narrow victory, 14-8.
So congratulations to CJ, and that's leadership, a lot of leadership in that. So from Will Torres, Vic Carrillo, Johnny Mo Moreno, good night, everybody. Drive safe, be good humans.